My brother has opened up a haunted trail on his property outside of Des Moines, Iowa this fall. So something cool I thought I could do to help would be to make jack-o'-lanterns. A lot of jack-o'-lanterns. There wasn't much about this project that was easy or cheap, but come and watch the pain and suffering as I attempt to make a couple hundred pumpkins. Let's try and make some cool stuff.
This is so dumb.
Today, we are going to try to figure out how to make our own foam pumpkins. And we have no idea what we're doing. Pretty much my motto around here. But anyway, my brother's doing a yard haunt this fall, and it's July now, so we've got less than 3 months to go. So, foam pumpkins are really expensive. We looked this up, and like if you want to buy them from Michael's or Hobby Lobby, they're like $50 for ones that's like 12 or 13 inches. That's a lot of money when you want to put up hundreds of pumpkins that you can carve and keep and not have to recarve every year. So we need a better solution. Enter a Hobby Lobby pumpkin. This was $50 to get shipped to my house. One pumpkin. One big pumpkin. Fall. Maybe they're cheaper in the fall. Anyhow, so the goal is to take this one foam pumpkin and make a mold out of silicone, out of half of it, and try to use that silicone foam to use stuff like Great Stuff or whatever to spray and make another half pumpkin times 500 or however many we can do in 3 months. Once again, I have no idea what I'm doing here. I'm going to try to draw a line around the outside of the pumpkin that I can follow. And originally I was thinking pole saw, but that's dumb. I'm going to use this bad boy to make a plunge cut on the line. Then we're going to the jigsaw and we're going to go really slow. Cross your fingers. Is this not hollow? The answer is no. This is not hollow. And apparently it's got cement inside it. Literally has a cement core. Who'd have thought? That's pretty good. Almost completely perfect. Sometimes I even amaze myself. With our pumpkin cut in half, the next step is to build our form box to be able to pour the silicone around. All right, so we got our form box made. So pumpkin fits in there like that. And I think next step is to hot glue around the seams all the way around so that no silicone can leak under the pumpkin. And then we will try to use scrap cardboard to build up basically like a half octagon or kind of a dome to get as close to the pumpkin as possible so we don't waste more. I quickly realized I needed to cut the box down just to be able to access the base of the pumpkin with hot glue. Just want to go along the seam. Stick one more in the back and just start going around there. All right, keep
I've
going.
touched hot glue before. It hurts.
Well, keep your fingers back, but you're doing good. In an attempt to waste less silicone, when I glued the box back together, I cut some of these extra pieces of cardboard to put in the corners, just to act as side pieces so that again, there's not as much void space that silicone's going to fill in. So we're trying to use as little as possible. But then I had to cut back the sides of the box so that I could actually reach the new seams with hot glue. Then I just had to keep cutting scrap pieces of cardboard to try and form this dome shape around the pumpkin and get as close to it without actually touching the pumpkin. Again, we want to use as little silicone as possible. Does it look like a mess? Feels like a mess. It's gonna work though. Maybe. Then I cut a couple holes into this piece of cardboard, and that would act as basically pour spouts where I could pour the silicone into the mold. Okay, we have a mold. I think all I have to do now is mix and pour it in there, but I'm tired, so I'm gonna go rest, and I'll pour it in the morning, and we will all pray to the maker gods.
It's the best. What is that?
It's, why wouldn't I? EcoFlex 00-35 fast. Whatever that means. Portable silicone rubber. This is 1-to-1. I did have it in the fridge to cool it off to give us a little bit more working time. Basically, I've got about 60 to 90 seconds to stir it and then 1 minute to pour it. I'm just gonna try it, and if I ruin the thing, I've still got half a pumpkin. Drink some coffee, put some gloves on, and let's do this. Here we go. Somebody count the clock. This isn't gonna be enough. I don't even think it's gonna be close. Oh, shnikes. Not even close. We definitely have some leaking out too. So yeah, we definitely leaked here and here, and it's already solidifying, so that'll act as the sealer, but we didn't come close. I can't get a good camera angle, but you can tell we're not to the top of the pumpkin, obviously, so definitely not enough.
Wait, so when you mix this, it dries?
We have about 2.5 minutes before it sets up.
For what?
So we stir for about 45 seconds. So
Wait,
we need you to count.
Dude, I need a timer. Tell me when you start counting.
Ready? Here we go.
1, 2,
Count faster.
16, 17, 34, 35, 36,
Good enough?
4, 65, 66, 67, 2.
Okay, keep going.
Okay. Was that all the 2 jars?
Yep. We're gonna be short again.
Yeah, do you think it's dry already?
I think we've got some in here, if I can get it out of there fast enough to mix. And we can reuse this bucket, by golly. This is the one from yesterday. We're just gonna peel it out of there. Look at that.
Silence of the Lambs.
Getting all this out of here. Stuff's too expensive to throw away. Like $40 a bottle. Pour number 3. Here we go. Well, now I'm scared that 4 isn't going to be enough. It's almost to the top, but one more kit. I don't know. This is so dumb. I feel defeated, but like in a really, really expensive way. Pour number 4. Everybody pray.
Not enough. Not a freaking enough.
I don't even think I'm close, to be honest. At this point, I realize this stuff is just in the way, and I gotta see what I'm working with. Still got some filler spots that are gonna take up way too much silicone, so we're gonna throw scraps in them. Back in there. All right, here we go. Is this kit 5? I've lost count. I don't know. If this doesn't work, fire, blowtorches might be the next option. Please be enough. Here we go. 1,000, 2,000, and 60. Please be enough. We're gonna make it. Oh, man. Kinda got it. We are covered in silicone. It's just really, really thin. Maybe a small, is there a half kit? If I could do a half, I think we're gonna need one more.
You think we need one more? You think we need one more? All right, we'll get one more.
Time for what should be the final pour. If not, I give up on everything. World's most expensive pumpkin. Shell. It's only gonna be half a pumpkin. Hopefully gonna be half a pumpkin times 500. I don't know if I need all of it. We're just gonna do an equal pour, the same time for like 3 seconds and hope it's good. 2, 3. Over the top. We finally made it, you guys. We did it. We're good. We have covered the pumpkin. Yes. It has occurred to me that we made this giant, really expensive pumpkin mold without actually testing whether this would work or not. Seems like something I should have done days ago, weeks ago, months ago. When did I start this? Anyway, I pulled off this scrap piece from where it leaked out of the side of the mold, and I'm gonna slap it on this piece of cardboard. This is a Keith Decent silicone mat. If you don't have one of these, I highly recommend you get one. They are awesome. But since it's made of silicone, it shouldn't stick to the foam. But I am going to spray some great stuff onto this piece of foam and then mash it down with this piece of foam just to make sure that it mashes and that this won't stick and that this won't stick. All right, this, squish. Now we'll check back in like 30 minutes. It says 8 hours for full cure, but I'm too curious. 4. What happened? Well, that's unfortunate. So after that failure, we decided to just put some on silicone and see if it wouldn't disintegrate. No squishy. Oh, comes right up. And it didn't disintegrate. This is to our actual silicone. Yep, comes right off. So what I think that means is instead of squishing the foam down with another piece of silicone like I thought I was gonna do, I think the solution is maybe, what about something we don't care about that's cheap? And I'm thinking like brown paper bags. But before we can attempt our first foam pour, we've got to get the original pumpkin out of our silicone mold. How do you suppose we get it out? I mean, I don't really want to destroy it, but I will if I have to. Well. I don't know. This thing can even.
Oh, let's see that again on replay.
Well, so much for saving the pumpkin.
I was getting too annoyed, so then I brought in reinforcements in the form of a friend of mine.
Just don't tear the silicone.
Oh, he's got it. Got it! Yes!
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Well, I call that success. Shake, shake, shake. Start in the middle. Somebody said this feels like way too much. Let's leave it and see what happens. Holy shit, it worked. Holy shit, it worked. totally clean. Yes. Oh my God. Holy cow.
You see me attempt to mash the foam down with a plastic bag here momentarily, and then realize that's a terrible idea. Alright, plastic bag trick did not work. Paper bag, maybe. But we're gonna go without anything this time and just see what happens. Check in the morning. There we go. I got it. Alright. If you want, we can clean up the edges. Stick those together. Or we just carve half and attach to a board. But I'm gonna keep foaming. And with that, we realize there's no need to mash the foam down with anything. So a question arose of, can you spray paint foam or will it disintegrate? I don't really know, but this first one is kind of a mess anyway, so let's spray paint it and see what happens. Rustoleum Satin Rustic Orange. Looks like an old gnarly pumpkin. Spray paint worked. Didn't need it. So this became my life for the next few months. I found that I could do 4 of these a day. I'd just space them out about 5 hours each, and I began doing this every day. I'd wake up in the morning, have a cup of coffee, make a pumpkin. Go to lunch, go out to the garage, make a pumpkin. Get done working at 4, make a pumpkin. And then I'd make a pumpkin before I went to bed. And the next day, the cycle repeats. Soon I added new steps to my routine. I had to trim off some of the edges of all the pumpkins that were finished with a razor blade. And then, of course, I'd get to spray painting other pumpkins that were already done and ready to go. So one thing I did figure out here. I kept getting this bulge effect in the front of the pumpkin. It looked like a big old nose, which some of these will make pretty cool faces with this big schnoz here, but not a fan. And finally I figured it out. Well, let's pull this guy out. Oh, that's a good one. We were getting the nose effect because this part of the mold is actually pretty thin. So I think when the foam was expanding, it was basically just pushing that out, and that's where I was getting that bulge. So to prevent that, I've just got some scrap MDF stuff that I just basically stack up on the table, set the mold box over top of it, and now I've got a flush surface in the mold. So when it expands, it'll expand up and not push out and give my pumpkins a schnoz. You can see a much smoother effect that way. Let's keep on keeping on. Oh wait, crap, I'm out of foam. Hardware store. So I ran to my local Ace hardware store and they didn't have great stuff, but they had this GE foam and I thought I'd give it a shot and just see how it worked. Not great. What the... That isn't hollow. Never again. Reloaded. Let's try and carve one, shall we? Sharpie? Knife. This is a fairly thin one, so we'll see how this goes. I decided to start with a very basic jack-o'-lantern shape. That looks pretty terrible. That is like too easy. What do we think? First gnarly one.
So I guess I'll just stress that this was yet another step that got added on. Along with making pumpkins every day, now I had to start carving them. And even after they were carved, I didn't think they looked quite gnarly enough, so I started weathering them. I used a mixture of water and black acrylic paint in a water spray bottle, sprayed it on, and just wiped it off with a rag. So yeah, this is like a whole nother additional step that I get to do to all these pumpkins after I've carved them. And I must say, I would get behind. I kept making 4 pumpkins every day, but there were some days I didn't carve anything, so I'd have all-day carving sessions on a Saturday or a Sunday, or late at night when my kids went to bed. But I wanted to make it so that all these pumpkins were different. I didn't want the same jack-o'-lanterns all over the haunt. I wanted all of them to be unique. So with the extra tasks I had to do, it was time to enlist some help. In the form of my children.
Special assistant helping out.
I found that there's really a skill to this, but he really wanted to try it out, so why not? But the easiest use of their time was really to have them draw whatever designs they wanted on the pumpkins, and then I'd do the carving since the knife's pretty sharp. But both boys really love doing design work for me, and hey, I'll take all the help I can get at this point. This is getting out of control. This is the new spot where they go before they need trimmed. Need a bigger piece of plywood. So, I got tired of doing this by hand on the second round every time because the straws always fill up with goo. So, I bought a 60-pack off Amazon. And I know it's more money, and more waste. But I don't care because my hands hurt and this is easier. But as I kept going, some strange things started to happen. The pumpkins would come out and be making this weird crackling sound, and I really began to fear that maybe my mold wasn't going to last. Listen to that. It's like a bowl of Rice Krispies. So, I just removed the pumpkin. So that wrinkly stuff looks new, and then when I touched the middle, there's a new crack. This imperfection's always been there, but I'm not sure my mold's holding up. So it's been 30 minutes and it still looks weird and is still fragile. I mean, I can push even up here and the silicone will crack. So I don't think this is a long-term solution to make pumpkins forever, but I'm just gonna keep rolling and hope that it gets us to 200. Uncooked pumpkin. Bloop. But with every new foam pour, these things got harder and harder to get out of the mold. Maybe time to take this thing out of the box. Soft in the middle. The rest of my life is so hard. Just can't. Afraid the whole thing's gonna tear apart. Ah! Strings. You probably could have used a couple more hours in the oven. There was our problem. Leaving remnants behind and adding more cracks to the mold. Still going. So many pumpkins. We are failing now. Those are pieces of silicone from the mold. This took me 10 minutes just to get this thing out, and it's splitting and breaking. And so my original crack is getting worse. Pieces are sticking. This is like impossible to get off, and you can see here. Oh man, it is pulling all the silicone apart. I couldn't keep spraying foam, so I just kept carving while I waited for reinforcements to come in the mail. We're gonna see if we can salvage the mold by using this. Mold release spray. Still pretty tough sledding. That was just done on this one. Worked. Keep rolling.
So the spray mold release kept us going for a while, but I must say, things weren't always coming out the best looking.
Oh. So after all this time, I saw a reel with a foam can and learned something new. I feel pretty stupid about it, but let's fill one more pumpkin and then we're gonna try it here. Okay, so apparently you just take this, and you do the bendy, and there's this little plug on the end, push it on there. And then allegedly you can reuse this later. We'll come back at lunchtime and see if this works.
Let's try it. So it's even on the can that tells you how to do this. And I didn't realize to do it this whole time. Oh. The can says to just snip that off.
Oh, wingman scissors.
What? No way. That freaking works. I could have been doing this the whole time. Instead of paying $12 for a bag of that.
Lessons learned. But now it's time for a pumpkin delivery.
Pumpkin delivery coming up. Pumpkins. 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 Pumpkins everywhere.
Even with that giant delivery, there was still a lot more to be done. And we had tons of half pumpkins, but now it's time to try and make a full pumpkin.
Let that sit. Looky there. A whole pumpkin.
Then it was time for one final delivery.
The back of the pickup is also full of pumpkins as well.
We installed them with wire over orange lights, and voila, jack-o'-lanterns. Total pumpkin count, 170. Alright folks, you'll have to let me know what you think in the comments. I'm sure there's a much better way to make the silicone mold that doesn't cost a small fortune. And trust me, I can't wait to hear about it in the comments. But anyway, I love how these turned out, and they look great on display at the Zombie Hollow. I'll be studying up how to improve the mold to make even more of these for next year. But in the meantime, you guys be sure to check out one of these other vids that's queued up, and we'll see you on the next one.